Drums are the backbone and the heartbeat of heavy music. These drummers express emotion frenetically through their hands and their feet. The legendary Iggor Cavalera founded Sepultura with his brother Max in Brazil. Over more than 3 decades, his unique and passionate playing style has made him a true icon of drums. Here he discusses his roots in traditional rhythms and the joy of crossing cultures. What kind of drew you to drums?
It's funny because the other day I was talking about this with a friend, and it was even before I even dreamed of having a band when I was like 6 or 7. That's when I started playing the drums. And for me, it was just about the drums. And then later, when a cousin of ours took us to see Queen play in Brazil, that's when we clicked and we were like, yeah, that's what we want to do. But before that, I was already playing drums, but I was playing like all the Brazilian rhythms, which is more like samba and stuff like that. So it was, I don't know, it's almost like, if I look, it's almost like I was in love with drums even before I was in love with music. So it was almost like a primal thing, and I think that translates on the whole tribal way of playing the drums and trying to do a lot of research. Like Max said, like right before this album, I went to Uganda to do some work with kids, with refugees there, and then I record a bunch of soundscape and also like rhythms, and then I brought some of this to the new Cavalera. So it's always about searching and learning also. It's about never stop and not thinking that you're done or you're too good or anything like that. I mean, as a musician, we know that it's every day. You know, you put a new band that you haven't heard, like young kids, and they're kicking ass, and it's like, yes, I need to learn from this.
It's really cool, like what you're saying, like going to Uganda and working them, and what you said before about going into a culture and you're not just like looking in from the outside. Like I was watching Anthony Bourdain in Haiti the other day, and he's talking about, I'm just another one of those dickheads here taking photos of you and leaving. It's really cool that you guys are actually going in there and throwing down and bringing culture back, but their culture to the world rather than you, I don't know how to say it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's about exchanging, you know, that's how you feel. You know, the whole thing about doing the roots thing with the Chavantes or me going to Uganda, it was about teaching kids how to do little producing with little studios on their refugee camps. And so it's something that it's cool, and it's for them, it's not for me. It's for me, I learn a lot from the whole thing, but it's about just, you know, experiencing the whole thing.
So I was reading about your mother's like religion, like Candomblé, and it's pretty fascinating. I read that you took Mike Patton to a ceremony and had him cleansed. What was that like? Like, that was Igor's idea?
Yeah, I mean, Mike, it's one of my best friends. Like, we know each other for like years, and also Max. But we were in Brazil, and he asked me about it, and kind of like he was curious more than anything. And I was like, yeah, I'll take you. So we took him to, and he loved it because there's a lot of like really crazy African rhythms and being mixed with the Brazilian culture.
Yes, you see? Don't start with me. Too early to do.
This is his space liftoff.
This is the Final Frontier, Sully.
Awesome.
He gave Eddie a good doing on the last tour. Natasha, our wardrobe girl, she puts a different out. Every tour there's a different outfit. Oh. And actually, when we recorded the album, we were in the Bahamas, and he was a Rastafari sweet and a big spliff in his hand.
Iron Maiden drummer Nicko McBrain recorded a song at the iconic Psalm Studios in London with Black Sabbath's Tony Iommi and Deep Purple legends Ian Gillan and John Lord. The song was created to raise money for the people of Armenia and build a music school for aspiring young Armenian musicians. This is a moment from the 30-minute documentary available on this channel.
Could have the heebie-jeebies on the app. Come on. Yeah, well, the snare shouldn't be a problem because it's Mr. Bond's. The ruby strand on the bottom, right. Stairway 11, wasn't it? Yeah, this very room. And it's the weirdest thing, we were doing one of the tracks on Matter of Life and Death, and Jimmy walked through the door and I was doing my Bonham bit in the song. It just kind of reminded me of John, and he walked in, I thought, me. Just at the right time, I was going to turn that door there, you know. Yeah.
growling. It's purring as well.
Well, I'm going to go and grab me a cup of tea.
Yes,
yeah, see?
It is hitting you, son of a bitch.
There we go.
Oh, thanks, mate. I'm struggling with it. You can tell I ain't played to a click in maybe 40 years, so it's going back to school for me.
Somebody take Nicko's tea out to me.
Take the click off then? Oh, no, you can't do that. See?
Okay. You're doing very well, my dear.
Right, really good.
And I just have to learn it myself. So you're giving me a remarkable opportunity.
I think Mike is going to, you're going to split a couple of, because there's good verses, there's bad choruses, good, so we'll compile one. Right. And then see how we go, and if I need to tidy anything else.
Give away your secrets, mate. Don't give away your secrets, then listen. Shh. Listen. Pictures have ears.
Imagine if I could get one straight from start to finish without any mistakes. It would be lovely.
Yes. Oh, you've got it start to finish. Perfect.
Thank you.
Founding member of Dream Theater and prolific drummer in his own right, the legendary Mike Portnoy has enthusiastically played drums across every single channel of rock, from progressive to jazz to glam. After 25 years with Dream Theater, he has applied his considerable talent to many bands, including most recently Sons of Apollo, his newest all-star project.
Some of my heroes are guys like Lars or Peter Criss, who takes the heat for a lot of stuff, or Ringo Starr, who takes the heat. These guys are my heroes.
People take the piss out of them, but maybe it's because they're jealous of how fucking huge they are without being like majorly technical dudes.
Those guys were all very important to their bands. Lars, obviously, he was the leader of the band, and he showed me those leadership qualities. But Ringo and Peter Criss, those guys were so important to the band's chemistry. You know, they were important personalities in those bands.
Yeah. It is about the personalities, really.
Absolutely. To me, it's not about the drumming. I mean, I guess I did make my name out of my drumming and have the big drum sets and the, doing all these crazy odd time signatures. So, yeah, I mean, I guess drumming was very important to what made me popular. But to me, my attributes and the importance of my role in Dream Theater always went way beyond the drumming.
Once upon a time, there's drummer jokes and there's all this kind of kind of thing.
I hear them all the time, of course.
But then, like, some of the smartest people I've ever met are drummers and lyricists as well. Like people like Tomas Haake. Yeah, Haake. Yeah.
Or Neil Peart with Rush, and then you have all the drummers that have gone on to great solo careers. People like Phil Collins or Don Henley or whatever. So yeah, fuck you guys. We could do it too.
What Meshuggah have done to ricochet against the edges of the metal framework and break into something entirely new has had a profound impact on a generation of metal musicians. A lot of bands rely on sort of 3-chord stuff and melody and hooky choruses and stuff, whereas you guys seem to be a lot more sort of rhythmically driven. What sort of set you on that path?
Even when I joined the band, which was in 1990, they had already kind of set on like kind of a sideways path a little bit, and where it, as you say, it's like the whole band is more, I guess, of a percussive unit more than anything else. It's not as melodically driven as a lot of bands. It's more on the rhythm side of things, and it just kind of developed and evolved from that. And it's hard to say why.
Well, you are a pretty amazing drummer.
Thank you. I mean, I try. It's hard sometimes. It's definitely challenging music, and it's. I don't think I ever have a night when I nail it, That never happens. There's always a lot of tiny mistakes. Usually I don't think the crowd hears much of it, though.
I doubt it. 10 years ago, drummer Billy Rymer joined Dillinger Escape Plan, a band known for wild innovation and raw emotion. Rymer mastered the band's complex and dissonant time signatures and brought a cathartic feel and ferocious intensity to the band's chaotic live shows and final 3 records. What's been one of the most important things you've sort of learned as a drummer?
Oddly enough, I have to say breathing. Breathing is super important to playing drumming, especially when you're playing in an extreme music, whether it's you're doing double bass drumming or a blast beat, you never want to hold your breath. You want to breathe through everything. And a practice I like to do is inhaling on a certain count and extending the duration of the exhale. Yeah. And for instance, there's one blast beat in one of our songs called Panasonic Youth that over the years of playing it, I've kind of even incorporated breathing as a fifth limb, so to speak, into playing. Whereas I will breathe the same way every single time on stage. When there's a certain part coming up in the song that's taxing, I always make sure that there's a certain way I breathe, and it's usually on an exhale.
Yeah. So it's a very physical instrument.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And there's tons.
Full body experience. Yeah.
Absolutely. I it's funny. Like I just joined a gym too, and I sweat profusely playing a blast beat for 16 seconds more than running 8 miles on a treadmill.
What was it like kind of coming into this band and how this particular band philosophy and lifestyle and shit?
Oddly enough, the philosophy and attitude was easier to adapt to than the music itself.
That's the most important thing first.
Yeah. And I feel like right away when we met, we definitely vibed on the same philosophy and same attitude.
I love making music with him, man.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's true. That's the great thing what he just said, that he figured out he adapted to the philosophy and the ethic of the band first, and then the rest is just skill and technique. I mean, anybody can learn that technically, but what we do is not about craft, it's about art. It's the intent and why we do it, and the actual ethic and for the whole thing, and what we're trying to put forth. That makes us what we are, not skill or technique.
From the very beginning, their very first EP, rhythm was always an essential part of the Dillinger Escape Plan's sonic signature.
That EP, Under the Running Board, those 3 songs were really just like a big middle finger, like to me. I remember me and our drummer Chris would just get super worked up, and I'd be like telling him, like, play faster, and he's like, I can't. I'm like, yes, you can. And we'd be playing, and I'd be like, because I was more the punk guy, and he was more the technical guy, and he kind of made me more technical, and I made him more punk. So that's cool. Pushing me to be more technical and be better at guitar, and I'd be pushing him to play on more cymbals, hit harder, not play little. I'm like, get rid of that little splash. We don't need that. What is this? Little bell? What is that? A bell? Get rid of that. I want all China cymbals. Yeah. And so,
cowbell.
Yeah. So and I want you to use a cowbell as a drumstick. Yeah. But I just remember making him do all this crazy blast and fast stuff on a China cymbal, and him being like, this is not a crash. It's not meant for this. It's not built to be I'm like, I don't care to break it. And he just gets so pissed, and we just started going, and that album was just the product of that pretty much. Yeah.